given the pizza discourse going on in the chat, recommend a fantastic TikTok account, and I'll drop this in the show notes, which is two very nice Italian guys reacting with horror to horrible, horrible things Italian food that is done to Italian food,
like boiled pizza and stuff.
There is this fantastic running sequence where it's in like boiled pizza and pizza tacos, and one of them just looks at it and goes, "Get it." And the other one holds up a crucifix. And the other one holds up a bigger crucifix. The other one holds up a bigger crucifix.
Over and over.
And it finishes with him hauling an 8-foot-tall crucifix upright in a field to the sounds of the Mission soundtrack, which, as an escaped Catholic, absolutely is the type of comedy I am here for.
Hi, everybody.
Hey!
Sorry for the technical issues. I can't even say we fixed them because Elgato's not working in OBS crash. But, fingers crossed, at least me sitting here at the desk means that we can fix it on the fly as
Worst
we go
case scenario,
forward.
we can just vogue for 5 minutes.
Would you stop? No. Voguing is one step away from miming, and we are not here for clowns. Right.
I have to memorize that Detective Pikachu scene.
Which Detective Pikachu scene?
They interrogate a Mr. Mime, and they successfully lock him in an invisible cage.
I love you.
Yes.
Right. Hi, everybody. How are you? By the way, thank you so much for the fact that we've got to 1,000 followers and bits and hype trains.
Wait, what? 1,000 followers?
Yeah, we've got over 1,000 followers now. Yay for us! I really appreciate it, everybody. That's fantastic. Right. So, what's new with Alistair this week?
Oh, where is my mind?
What isn't new with Alistair this week?
Okay. Well, we did a lot of stuff involving Magnus for the rap party, which was great.
And fun.
Very fun. And it was really...
Involved crimes.
And it was really, really nice to see Alex and Johnny in particular both have that kind of I'm tired kind of energy to them.
Please notice the chat saying awards, 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 awards.
And then I won an Audioverse award.
Thank you all very much for everybody who voted for him.
Thank you so much. I ordered him
a certificate in the frame and everything.
For voting for me as the horrible, horrible old man. I mean, he's just a bastard, folks.
He is, but we all love him, and you act him so well. Come here. Good job.
So yeah, that happened, and that was great. And 2 weeks ago, where I told you about celestial navigation and the whole thing of, if you ask us again in 2 weeks, I'll tell you the really good stuff. Yeah, the Audioverse Award wasn't that.
Yeah, we didn't know
There's still more to come.
Speaking of things to come, if you are not already signed up for the Full Lid, Alistair's weekly newsletter, or I guess technically our joint newsletter.
It isn't. I think it's time to call it our newsletter.
It's the beautiful day in the Institute and you are a horrible book captain. Yes, very much so. Please do so, because although April Fool's... Because April Fool's is Thursday, tomorrow, but we are doing an April Fool's Day issue on Friday the 2nd. But we're telling everybody about it up front because it's going to be wonderful and positive.
And filled with lies.
And filled with glorious, hilarious lies. And we hope you all enjoy it very, very much.
We have commissioned 3 full-length pieces from 3 superb authors.
And some artwork from someone who may be in the chat now.
And some artwork from one of those people who, very soon now, the UK genre culture scene is going to realise is a central pillar to the operation and start throwing a lot of money at. And also, we have a lot of people in the Signal Boost section. And there's
You lie to chat, you lie! Jail! Yes, I would also like a link to that clip of him and cat ears, please.
Yes, please.
For reasons. Thank you.
And also a really awkward "Where can you find me this week" section, which was originally just going to be a joke and is now me going, there's an interview over here and I'm in this podcast and I won an award.
Yeah, so he got...
Those were the other 2 things that hit. Sorry.
Go ahead. There's more.
Showmark, at Showmark, SHOMARQ.
Elena Fernandez Cortez.
Yes.
Collins, excuse me.
Ellie is one of the best podcast journalists
Fantastic
on Earth.
And their newsletter is called Audio Dramatic, I believe. And you were interviewed for it.
I was interviewed for them.
It's a good interview.
I actually, this will sound like my usual self-deprecatory bullshit, and it's genuinely not meant. I actually wrote it back and went, holy shit, I actually sound cogent.
Thank you, Compost Witch. I appreciate it.
Plus, on top of all of that, Ellie actually apologized for the Joe Rogan as a sentient human thumb joke not quite making the cut.
Yes, but you could resist saying...
Joe Rogan, sentient human thumb.
Right.
There was a really obtuse thing about a classic English play, A Man for All Seasons, about the friendship between Thomas More and Henry VIII, and the most nuclear put down in English literature as well, which is when More finds out that one of his students has basically taken the king's shilling, which is to sell one's soul for power, Richard, but for Wales. And I may have said, to sell one's soul for power, Joseph, but for Spotify. Which is a joke.
Which is a classy put down. Because he's classy.
Which is, the classiest, no, fuck you, I could possibly come up with.
The chat approves. Chat very much approves. Speaking of sea captains, shall we display the boy?
Nothing happened at sea this week. Nothing. Well,
Yeah.
what do you have to say for yourself?
Get up to the microphone for the love of God.
I regret nothing.
Yes, that's what he has to
And
say.
admit to nothing.
Exactly. Chungus is doing quite well, thank you. I'm just going to remind everybody that Chungus's birthday is in June.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about to be April. And we might have some plans along those... Oh, wow, you're going full neck thing here.
We do.
Yeah.
I mean, we do. Mm.
Remember? You don't remember my caffeine-induced brilliant plan?
Oh, Jesus Christ, yes.
Yes. So there will be some plans involving the boy and your participation. No! Don't make him a bigger hat. This is my favorite. See? It won't stay. I need like a headband. Wendy, I want a little headband with a little magnet on it so I can wear a little Chungus fascinator like that. Because that's so cute. I want more Wendy. I want more mini hats. Stop playing with the Chungus. Okay, fine. Stop. So, Shenanigans. Do we have anything else to tell everybody about?
I'm trying to think. Full lid.
You want an award?
Want an award.
Mini hats.
Interview. Inexplicables.
Right. Inexplicables comes out on Friday. You will recognize one of the voices.
And also one of the others.
I don't think I have lines until like the last episode. Oh yeah, and St. Kilda. You haven't told everybody about St. Kilda yet either.
I'm sure I mentioned it last week, but I'll mention it again.
Mention it again.
I have been cast as the narrator in The Secret of St. Kilda, the first scripted audio drama produced by the Haggis and Dragons group up in Scotland, who are amazingly lovely chaps.
Very funny folks
and
to
they
work
have a
with.
fiercely talented writer working on it. She's putting together these just amazing scripts.
I don't remember Naomi's last name. Apologies.
I just know her as she writes very well, and I'm excited to be saying her words.
I get to read all the scripts this weekend. I'm very excited.
And like I say,
speaking of, other people cast in it are
Ben Meredith.
Yeah, Ben Meredith has been cast, and what's Alan's last name? Alan, I'm sorry, I can't remember.
His last name.
Shut up! I can't remember.
Not
to the
sure,
Twitters. What's Alan's? He's in Amelia Project, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Alan Burgeon. There we go.
Yes. So Alan is the lead character.
Mm-hmm.
Ben is a very nice man, and
honest.
I am the narrator. And it is winky face.
Winky face.
The thing
they keep tweeting amusing, foreboding stuff, almost of the sort of length that one could record on video and post to TikTok.
The interesting thing about this,
sus, totally sus, agreed.
And this is my usual self-deprecatory bullshit. I even, especially having won an award for acting good, I don't feel like I have any range. I do deep voice, sonorous, amiable chap, and the narrator, inside about 3 takes, has shown me that is not the case. And that's... I have been researching a lot of James Spader. Let's move on.
I'm so heartbroken by that. Oh no. All the James Spader on my TV. Oh no.
David Seven. No. Fuck you, fuck Drexel, and fuck the board.
Exactly. So now, shall we do some shenanigans before it gets terrible?
Yes, we should. And I'm going to step out.
All right, so shenanigans this evening, we have a theme, which is weeping at boats and evil men. So There are no content warnings for either of these pieces of Shenanigans. I am going to read the first one for you, which is I Like That the Boat is Stuck by Sarah Gailey. It is a fantastic blog post. And Twitch says no. Uh-oh. What happened? Are we still good? I'm showing us everything is good on my side. So you let me know if all of a sudden things have disappeared. I love how he just leaves his chair behind me. Like, don't look! Don't look at my chair! Okay, there. Don't look at the chair. So that's the one I'm going to read. And then Alistair is going to read something from AO3 called, I think it's called Stillarie. Have tissues is all I'm going to say. It's fantastic. Wendy and mods, I apologize. I have no buttons. Could you kindly put the Shenanigans text links into the chat, please? And now I will read for you. I Like That the Boat is Stuck by Sarah Gailey. Oh, still twitchy? No, I'm still here. Hang on. I'm going to give it a moment, folks, because I'm seeing a response, but maybe it's just that there's a delay. So I'm going to assume everything's okay because things are showing green on my side, and then we'll go on. I Like That the Boat is Stuck by Sarah Gailey. It's bad that the boat is stuck. It's bad for lots of people and for lots of reasons. I know that. Please don't think that me liking the stuck boat is an ideological stance. This is not an opinion I have about boats or about canals or about things generally being stuck. It's bad that the boat is stuck. It's bad for lots of people and for lots of reasons. I know that. Oh, that's a duplicated paragraph. Never mind. Sorry about that. But I can't deny it. I like that the boat is stuck. I like that so far we all seem to agree that the boat is stuck. There's no debate over whether or not the big boat is stuck. It's a big boat, and it's stuck. And we are all aware of those facts, even those of us who are currently located in outer space. Furthermore, most of us share the opinion that it's disagreeable, logistically, for the boat to be stuck. The boat being stuck is inconvenient. It's a big disruption. Nobody can say it isn't a big disruption. None of my distant relatives will get into arguments on the Face website about whether or not the stuck boat is making a nuisance for lots of people. I like that. Another thing I like is that we know exactly what the problem is that is making the boat be stuck. It's a big boat. And it's stuck. Sure, shipping and manufacturing and boats and canals have lots of connections to varied and sundry historical and sociological issues, but this immediate problem in front of us is a stuck boat. And we can look at that problem for precisely what it is. It's not stuck for mysterious reasons related to a long history of humans cruelly exploiting other humans. It's not stuck because a politician wanted money from an organization that profits from human suffering. It's not stuck because someone pretending to be in favor of free speech is trying to promote hateful ideologies. It's stuck because it's big. Bigger than the place where it is, and that's why it is stuck. Unsticking the boat will require making the boat not be stuck. It won't take a year or more of isolation, or new heights of hand-washing, or phone calls to legislatures. It won't require the courage to face down militarized police forces, or the gumption to get a shot that I know will make me feel a little bad before it makes me feel a lot safe. Nobody can tell me that if I just work a little harder, or stop spending money on avocados, or get a side hustle, the boat will get unstuck. If I did all of those things perfectly right now on tiptoes, there would still be a big stuck boat. Because those things aren't the things that need to happen. What needs to happen is someone unsticks the boat. It feels profoundly goofy to even discuss the big stuck boat. You can say those 3 words in any order, and it will describe the situation. Big stuck boat. Boat, big stuck. Big boat, stuck. Stuck boat, big. See? It's great. There's no way to phrase the fact of the boat being stuck that can miscommunicate the situation, or misrepresent it, or hide the reality of it, or maneuver it so it dehumanizes vulnerable people. Again, there's a vast and sprawling ecosystem of current and historical horrors that made this situation possible. But we can't say that it's a situation that could never occur in a just world, because even in just worlds, things get stuck. Ducklings get stuck. Winnie the Pooh gets stuck. And now the big boat is stuck. And I like it. I like knowing that there can be a big problem that's caused by something as straightforward and comprehensible as a stuck boat. I hope the boat gets unstuck. I do. I hope that nobody gets hurt. And I extend that hope all the way through to every kind of hurt that's possible. And selfishly and honestly, part of me hopes that nobody gets hurt so I can keep on liking that the big boat was stuck. And maybe the boat can stay stuck for just a minute so I can keep on cherishing a situation that makes sense. The boat is stuck. That's all there is to it. I think we need a big boat stuck emoji for this chat now. I love that piece. Thank you very much, Sarah, for letting us read it. I've already put it on the Best Related Work Hugo nomination spreadsheet for next year. I don't know about anybody else, but big boat stuck. Stuck boat, big. Big boat, stuck. Big stuck boat. It's just fun. It's fun to say. And now I hope you will have your tissues, because it's Alistair's turn. Yeah. Good luck with that one, honey. All right.
Beautifully read, by the way.
Thank you. All right. Tagging out. Brace.
Stillarie by Doom Country. The house is unexpected. He's been walking so long up the pebbled beach in his bare feet that when it appears ahead out of the heavy fog, it almost startles him, and he stops there, half a mile away, and stares at it. His head still hurts. His brain still feels heavy and unmoored in his skull, but he thinks he recognizes it, nicely settled there in the hillside, a stone's throw from the water that eats patiently at the shore. Old house, but wealthy, if a little in disrepair, weathered by the salt wind. A wrought iron weather vane on the highest gable creaks imperceptibly in a breeze too thin to stir the mist that's settling in the cuffs of his sleeves, the inside of his collar. He looks to his right at the ocean that stretches on forever towards the horizon, or what he can see of it before the fog becomes too dense to make out detail. He looks back towards the house. On the high veranda with its white-painted railing, he sees someone sitting, a blue shape, looking out. Elias goes, numbly. He looks ridiculous, he thinks absently, glancing down, barefoot in his nice pressed trousers and silk waistcoat, trudging through the awkward shifting stones. His feet are flecked with dirt. The hems of his slacks are wet. He needs to make himself presentable. The thought comes without his bidding and runs a hand back through his hair, wet and stiff with sea spray. He smooths his palms down his shirt front and realizes his hands are shaking just a little. Just past the point where the beach gives way to feathery, pale grass, the wooden steps up to the porch begin, and he stops there, wondering if he's been seen yet. The paint is peeling, the wood is soft when he touches it, slides easily apart around a fingernail. He sees a little puff of white smoke come floating over the banister of the veranda. He hears the laboured groan of a rocking chair. "You're late," Peter says overhead. Through the slats of the railing, Elias sees him. He unfolds from his seat on the porch with a little noise of effort, as if he had been there too long, and appears then at the head of the stairs, leaning one elbow on the banister, his pipe in one hand. He's smiling. "I'm dreaming," Elias says in retort. "That would be preferable, wouldn't it?" Peter says. He watches where he's going as he descends the stairs. He's barefoot too, though less embarrassingly so than Elias. Barefoot comfortably. Clean. He recognizes the thick blue jumper Peter's wearing. That had been a gift, he recalls dimly. He forgets what occasion. Peter's white beard sprouts over the top of the turtleneck like a froth of pale flowers. He stops a step above Elias, looks him up and down, and with that appraising, quiet, interned little smile, takes a brief pull on his pipe. Elias fidgets uncomfortably in the pebbles. They're beginning to bite into his feet. "Are you going to invite me up?" he says through gritted teeth. "It's your house, dear," Peter says. "Remember?" His hand is on Elias's shoulder then, huge, heavy, the way he remembers it. It steers him gently up the warped boards of the staircase, and Elias feels a little dizzy. He grips the rail for support. "Right," he says. He remembers now, he thinks, now that Peter says it. One of his old Scottish Magnus properties, near the sea. They'd honeymooned here once, third wedding, or fourth. Picking through his memories is still like trudging through thick mud. Belatedly, he says, "What do you mean, I'm late?" Peter chuckles. Doesn't answer. This place floats. Seasons and days shift by degrees, like bubbles rising and bursting at the roof of the sea. Nights faint and lustrous, sunrises pastel and whisper silent, where the fog gives way to horizon. Sometimes the cloud skids across the face of the sky as if in fast-forward motion. Sometimes they crawl like ants, molasses, slow, sweet. They go for walks along the beach when the mood takes them. They walk for hours in silence, the stones shifting under their feet, the water lapping occasionally at their ankles. He asks what else there is besides this. "Oh," says Peter, "I'm sure that if we walked far enough, there would be something different." He pauses. "I wouldn't keep you," he says, "if you wanted to leave." Elias takes his hand and looks away. Up onto the porch and through the front door into a dark, quiet hallway. Lamps on somewhere. Yes, this is his house. He hasn't been in a long, long time. Peter moves past him, around a corner into what Elias remembers to be the downstairs kitchen. A light flickers on, bathes part of the rug in front of him in pale yellow, and Elias scrapes a foot against the carpeting, hoping to remove some of the dirt. He follows Peter, though at a distance. Inside, he can't hear the sea anymore. He can hear a clock ticking, and he can hear Peter doing something in a cabinet. He hesitates near the doorway, leans on the post of the staircase that leads up into the rest of the house. On the table, in the kitchen, 2 places are set neatly with napkins and silverware and clean ceramic plates, though nothing seems to be cooking. Peter is making tea. The electric kettle seems out of place in this narrow room. Exposed brick, ancient furnace, old-fashioned hob. "Is it Jonah or Elias now?" Peter says, without turning to look at him. He seems calm, moving slowly, contentedly. Elias blinks, looks away from him. He isn't sure. "Either way," Peter continues, "this is the first bet I've won in a long time. 20 years, isn't it?" "Bet," Elias repeats. "You're dead, Elias." Peter turns, rests his bulk against the countertop, and his smile has not shifted from his face. Ever present, just like he remembers. Now, Elias expects the news to feel like a punch to the gut, or a stone in his throat, but he's surprised to realize he is still standing here, leaning in the doorway in his damp clothes. He knew that, he realizes. It had just taken a moment to catch up to him. "We had a bet," he says. He clears his throat, rubs at his eyes. He's aware abruptly of the texture of the floor beneath his feet. "I don't recall." Peter chuckles. "I bet you don't. I wagered you the tundra. We were quite drunk at the time." He gestures to the table, and Elias carefully pulls out the chair, sits down. The wet hems of his trousers brush irritating at his calves. I said I was sure you'd die someday. You insisted you never would. I forget what you owe me. I don't suppose it matters now. He pauses, looks around the room, twisting his mouth as if in apology. A bit much to take in, perhaps. Elias tilts his head in the negative. Oddly enough, well, there you are. This was the lonely once, I presume, he says, still not yet in the habit of ceasing to presume, to trust his instinct as fact, delivered from some higher source. It's hard to remember how to be a person after so long existing in a state of forward motion, of thinking one step ahead. So difficult to remind himself to be still, breathe, move, eat and drink, sit quietly in a moment without peeling it apart. So new and so uncomfortable to be Jonah, after so long being the thing Jonah became. He feels simultaneously both extremely young and extremely old. He lets Peter call him whatever name he likes. The differences are just too slight to matter now. Peter hums thoughtfully. No, he says, not now, at least. He pauses, but his hand continues to card gently through Elias's hair, parting it in soft falls to either side. Solitude, I think he says eventually. Same God. Kind of face. Heaven, Elias says, frowning. He swipes a finger through a layer of grey dust on the wooden back of the chair, looks at its film on his skin with distaste. Peter chuckles. No, he says, reaching out for the kettle. Not heaven, not nearly, just... He muses for a moment. After. He remembers very clearly now, though the knowledge has appeared altogether gently in his head. All of it. The panopticon, the raw world beneath, the agonized bliss. The very cold blade of the knife in John's hand, colder than he'd ever imagined it could be. The cold penetrating even more deeply into his throat than the blade itself. He reaches up, and sure enough, there are the scars, jagged and soft like a fungal bloom above his shoulder. He remembers begging for his life. But it's very quiet in this house, and he can feel his whole body, feels lucid and clear-headed. The void expanse he'd always imagined, always feared, is nowhere to be found. What had he been begging for? Not heaven. Dust doesn't accumulate in heaven. Bodies don't get a little chilly. Skies don't rain. Joints don't ache in heaven. He's more aware now of the natural pain in this body than he ever was when it lived. The blooming arthritis in the knuckles and knees, the hurt in the socket of the hip. But it's human pain, never unbearable, never worsening, only present, a little reminder of existence. He senses the mirrored pain in Peter's hands and wrists. Old, he thinks. Even here, he and Peter are old. Their hair is greying, their skin folds like crepe paper at the delicate corners of their faces. Under Elias's flesh, his veins show up blue, stark on the backs of his hands. Age without death. How did it happen? Peter asks, so tactless, Elias almost laughs. They're sitting at the table together, drinking tea. Peter's hand rests near his, but doesn't touch. Not yet. My archivist, Elias says, lifting an eyebrow. Peter smiles, nods as if to say, should have guessed. He doesn't press for details. When their cups are empty, and Elias is looking down into the dregs in the bottom of his mug, puzzling out the abstract shapes, Peter stands and opens the kitchen window to let the tide breeze in. A little gust of air smooths across Elias's face. He closes his eyes. What are you doing here? He says, not accusatory, only curious. He opens his eyes again, looks at Peter's broad back, the slope of his shoulders, when he stands at the window. Peter is quiet for a long time. I don't know, he says finally. The sun is setting or rising. He's outlined in its colours a rapidly solidifying shadow. Elias has a sudden vision of the dark of night settling and swallowing him up, blinking him out. Peter speaks almost as if to himself. Waiting for you, I suppose. Wasn't sure where else to go. We could have been like this when we were alive, he says. Around his legs and waist, the sheets are cool and soft. His head rests comfortably against the meat of Peter's arm, and the smoke from Peter's pipe curls up towards the ceiling until it dissipates, broken up by the dark. Elias turns his face enough to smell the faint sweat on Peter's skin. His toes curl beneath the covers. He feels Peter grin, rather than sees it. I don't think so, he says. We wouldn't have been ourselves, I suppose. I don't think I would have loved you half as much. More than once, Elias has tried to apologize for sending his archivist to the place where he knew Peter would die in his hand. Peter stops him, though. You don't really mean that, he says. And if you did, it wouldn't be you. Elias gets up carefully so that the chair doesn't squeak on the wooden floor. Slowly, like a child approaching an animal, he moves in fractions of caution towards Peter's shape in the window. Hesitates. Before he would have examined the moment from every angle, decided on its advantages and disadvantages, thought through what to say and when, and how this would help or harm him. Backwards or forwards from the goal, always thinking a day, a week, a year, 10 years ahead through bodies and obstacles, decades and changes of plan. He is struck suddenly with the weariness of it. 200 years of moulding life around possibility, shirking anything as soft or momentary as silence, relaxation, time, affection. Even more frightening, the fact that none of that is here anymore. How to be, he wonders. In this present state, how to go back to being, how to access that irritant that had always wormed snake-like under his intentions with Peter, that termite. Love. He touches Peter's back slowly with the flat of his hand and slips it up to cup and fold down and over the back of his neck, then again, by degrees, an arm around his arm, another around his waist, a cheek pressed between his shoulder blades. Elias exhales a tight, forgiving breath and squeezes hard. A nightmare of ascending, his feet lifting from the ground among a swirl of loose paper and debris past the windows of his hurtling tower through which the world is falling to pieces in cascades. The great and horrible iris sucking at his back and the words crawling up his throat again, skinny elbows seeking purchase, intent on spilling up and out forever. The racking, body-splitting, head-shattering pain, time or what is left of it, swooping in and through his ears and lungs, rushing like wind through the mouths of caves. He fights and does not fight it, exists on the verge of panic and bliss for a split second, for a decade, until the door below him opens and a voice penetrates, colder than he had ever imagined. No nightmares in heaven, but nightmares here where they are still deserved. He doesn't wake with a start or in a sweat, but finds himself pulled from sleep to the sound of distant seabirds, whose shapes they never see in the sky. The sun is rising or setting, and beside him Peter stirs, drawn up from the depths of his own sleep by the sudden intake of Elias's breath. His huge hand rests on Elias's cheek. Here we go!
You can do it.
He kisses fumblingly at his temple. Eli, he mumbles, half awake and rapidly falling back again. Elias nods. He turns over past the ache in his hip and tucks his head beneath Peter's chin.
It's okay.
I was having the most terrible dream, he says.
It's okay.
But
Hold on.
I'm good.
Okay. Start the sentence off again.
I was having the most terrible dream, he says. But like smoke, it is gone. Against Peter's chest, enfolded in his arms, Elias's breath is loud and even and warm, washing in and out of him like the sea.
Oh, such feels.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Oof.
You did it. You did it. I'm proud of you.
Ooh, dear.
The ending of that is very emotional. Read this. Stillarie?
Stillarie, Old Scots, a state of greater stillness or silence.
That is some hell of a writing.
Yeah, that is some shit, isn't it? Wow, that's really good. How's everyone doing?
Can you reassure everybody you're okay?
I'm fine. I am genuinely, honestly fine.
Can I tell the chat something about you?
Yep.
Okay. Just for reference, he's okay. Alistair can't listen to the Star Trek theme on Star Trek Discovery without getting emotional. It's okay. He's alright. You were totes emotion. You are my teddy bear and I love you. You feel all the things for us. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. This is why I don't go to magic shows early.
Yes. That's part of it. That and every Star Trek thing, every time they do the theme, you get emotion. Oh, I'm sorry. I should stop talking about it. Do you want me to wrap this up or are you good?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Hi. So, we're taking Sunday off.
That's right. We're not going to be streaming on Sunday.
Because, pardon me, because we have an Easter egg. I could tell you something else. It wouldn't be true. No, it's the last 4 or 5 weeks have been very full on, and there are going to be a couple of weeks coming up which are probably going to be very full on too. So, we're taking Sunday off. In fact, we're taking Friday off. And Monday.
No. It's a 4-day week. It's a 4-day weekend. We're taking Sunday off of streaming.
Yes, but we are also taking some actual time away from stuff. But we will be back next Wednesday, where we will have Premi Mohammed on talking about the sequel to Beneath the Rising, which is, I believe, I need to look that up. One moment.
What about
the title of Premi's book?
Hang on, let me go get it. I think it's in the check your stream notes. I might have put it in there.
Okay.
I'm terribly organized today, folks.
Toad's Profesh.
A Broken Darkness.
A Broken Darkness, which is the sequel to Beneath the Rising, both of which are very, very good.
Okay, we're going to try to talk to Premi about her book. We might talk to Premi about everything else under the sun.
Probably including Beatles.
Because Premi is amazing and fun and good value, and we don't get to spend enough time with them.
Yes.
So, but yes, we'll have it good. You did, in fact, spell it right. It's Premi, Mohamed. Well done, Compass
Yes.
Switch. Yes,
good job.
Exactly. I guess we could talk. Yeah, Beatles. Premi loves Beatles. Premi is on bug.
This is going to be that's another hour interview. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Premi has had a wide variety of very entertaining jobs in the chemical engineering industry. We will be asking her about her favourite pipe. She has one. And also about things like the time several of her colleagues were pursued across the Canadian wilderness by a very large grizzly bear. And it was only after several hours that one of them went, "Hey, I've got this meatball sub in my backpack. Do you think that might be factoring into anything?" She's good value. I'm sure there will be RQ stuff on over the weekend, and we will be back next weekend, not the weekend that's imminent, with more stone statue crimes in World War Zero on...
Yeah, well, hopefully avoiding World War Zero, but yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then we'll be back the Wednesday after that. So, thank you very much. And,
You okay?
yeah, I'm fine. Still fine. And we'll see you next time.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you later. Click on that one.
It's a really big screen. It's taking a long time to find. Yeah.